Hey everyone, we're going to go ahead and dig into this next video, that being a continuation of the last one with Theism. And we're going to talk about Christianity versus Islam. So which one is right? Well, remember when we talked about evidence being behind our beliefs? Let's look at Christianity. Let's look at the evidence behind Christianity and Islam and let's see which one is right. So let's start with Islam first. Well, the Quran was written by the Prophet Muhammad around 610 to 632 AD. That means that the Quran is another account of Jesus, written over 600 years after he died on the cross. In Islam, Jesus is believed to have been the precursor to the Islamic prophet Muhammad. And like all prophets in Islam, Jesus would have been a Muslim. It would be as if I wrote a document that I believed was factually true about George Washington, and all other documents were wrong about him hundreds of years after Washington's death. Now, Muslims believe that Jesus died a natural death in accordance with the will of Allah. The cross was thought to be a curse and therefore not fitting for a prophet such as Jesus. Yet the Quran states that Jesus only appeared to have died, resulting in some saying that maybe it was Judas Iscariot who took his place on the cross. It's written in Surah 4, 157 through 158, "And they did not kill him, nor did they crucify him, but another was made to resemble him to them. And indeed, those who differ over it are in doubt about it. They have no knowledge of it except the following assumption. And they did not kill him for certain, rather Allah raised him to himself." So, they say that Jesus never died on a cross, but appeared to have died. But this is not only biblically wrong, but it's wrong historically. Tacitus, who was a Greek historian and not a Christian at all, recorded the account of Jesus outside the Bible. And this is what he said: "Nero fastened the guilt on a class hated for their abominations, called Christians by the populace Christus, who from the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of Pontius Pilate, and a most mischievous superstition, thus checked for the moment, again broke out not only in Judea, the first source of the evil, but even in Rome." Now that might have been a little bit hard to understand, but let's look at this again. This is a Greek historian discussing Jesus' crucifixion and him being handed over to Pontius Pilate. So the assumption made about Christ, according to the Quran, is wrong historically. Now, what does the Quran say about Jesus' claims of being the Son of God? Well, Surah 17, 111 says this: "And they say, praise to Allah, who has not taken a son and has no partner in his dominion, for he has no need of protector out of his weakness, and glory him with great glorification." So what about the Bible? In fact, the Bible discusses Jesus' very own divinity in John 19, where it says, "Then they asked him, 'Where is your Father?' 'You do not know me, nor my Father.' Jesus replied, 'If you knew me, you would know my Father also. I tell you the truth,' Jesus answered, 'before Abraham was born, I am. I and the Father are one.'" Now, even Pliny the Younger, who was a Roman governor of Bithynia, writes about this, saying, "They were in the habit," talking about Christians, "meeting on a certain fixed day before it was light, and they would sing in alternate verses a hymn to Christ as to a God, and bound themselves by a solemn oath, not to any wicked deeds, never to commit any fraud, theft, or adultery, never to falsify their words, nor to deny a trust when they should be called upon to deliver it up. After which it was their custom to separate, and then reassemble to partake of food, but food of an ordinary and innocent kind." Again, this is an outside, non-Christian source stating that Jesus claimed to be the Son of God. Yet, in the Quran, Muhammad states that Jesus was not the Son of God. Again, this not only goes against the claim that Jesus made in Scripture, but also goes against history, historical documents. Now let's look at the evidence for Christianity. There are over 300 prophecies of Jesus in the Old Testament, which all of them came true, going from his birthplace to the virgin birth, how he would die, and so on. Also, these prophets were prophesied by different people at different points in time. You know, a mathematics professor, whose the name of Peter Stoner, had made the statement that the chances of only 8 of these 300 prophecies coming true was the same chances of 1 in 10 to the 17th power. That'd be equivalent to covering the whole state of Texas in silver dollars 2 feet deep and then expecting a blindfolded man to walk across the state and on his very first try pick the one coin that you had marked. Yeah, that's pretty remarkable. Only 8 of those miracles to come through. But what about the miracles? Does anyone talk about the miracles outside the Bible? Well, yes. There was a Jewish historian whose name was Josephus, who wrote of Jesus' startling works, which many scholars interpret as miracles. So people in the time of Jesus did not dispute his miracles, they just didn't know where his power came from. In fact, if you remember, many people said that he gets the power from demons. Also, what about the resurrection? It is recorded in 1 Corinthians 15 that when Jesus rose from the dead, he appeared to over 500 witnesses, many of which were still alive at the time the letter was written. All it would have had to have taken was for one person to come out and say that Jesus never appeared to me. Jesus was never around me. I never saw Jesus. Just one person, but this never happened. So there are a few examples for Christianity. When you look at the evidence against Islam, the evidence is piled high. There was a document written about Jesus almost 700 years after he died. It states that Jesus never died on the cross, which is historically wrong, and that Jesus never claimed to be the Son of God. I encourage you to follow the evidence and see where it leads. Looking at all these different accounts of evidence, from atheism to pantheism and so on, I think it's pretty clear that Christianity can be trusted not as only one of the many truths out in the world, but as the one and only truth. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an incredible day and that God continues to work in your life. Thank you so much.